Hello and welcome to the channel. Today I'm Will and I'm going to be giving my mid-month update for September. So we're 2 weeks in. This might actually be going up in the middle of September. Usually I'm a little bit late, but been better this time, and hopefully this will be going up on the 15th, dead on in the middle of the month. So today I'll be talking about what I've read so far, what I'm currently reading, and what I'm reading next, and then just kind of a general overview of what the reading has been like in September. And so the first week was quite slow. I did read The Voyage Home, but I'm not including that because I read like 10 pages on September 1st and then it's done. So I'm including that as August, not including that by Pat Barker today. I have read 3 books. I'm currently reading 3. Usually it's only 2, but you'll see why it's 3. And then I've got 2 or 3 left on the list for September. So the first week was quite slow. I just had quite a lot going on, so I didn't really have any time for physical or audiobook listening as well. But then this second week has been great. I've been spending a lot of time looking after a goat. Not something you say every day, but this goat, he's the cutest. His name is Ted, and I've been cuddling him a lot. And as I've been cuddling him, I've been listening to some audiobooks. And so I've got quite a few of them, and that's what I've made the most progress in. But anyway, enough rambling. Let's get into the specifics. Let's talk about what I've read in September so far. So first up, I want to talk about The Land of the Living and the Dead. This was not released when I finished it, but now it is published, and wow, what a conclusion. The Land of the Living and the Dead is just truly exceptional. On the Brothers Gwydyn on here, I'm sure in the next few months I'll be making lists of the best 2024 releases and books you really need to pick up that were released this year. This will be near the top of the pile. The Ghoul Song series has been consistently great. I love the blend of Irish mythology and Irish history put together so well with Shauna Lawless's really nice writing style with characters at the heart of the story. I've enjoyed them all, but The Land of the Living and the Dead stands head and shoulders above the others. The political machinations are tied together so well. Seeds that are sown in the previous books come to full fruition, and you see why certain tangents were taken in the first few books. It is exceptional. The payoffs are incredible. Whether it's heartbreaking or heartwarming, you get truly a lot of those moments in The Land of the Living and the Dead. It was just such a journey. There were moments that crushed my soul, and there were moments that made me pump my fists in the air and joy. And it is so rare that a book can take me to those highs and those lows. And this was just done extraordinarily well. I will be reading whatever Shauna Lawless puts out next. And let's just say her story is not yet over, but this first era is over. So the Ghoul Song trilogy is done, and this is truly exceptional. Please pick up the entire series, and especially so because a big worry for people is that if the ending isn't great, then they don't really want to invest so much time and effort in the journey to that. But here, one of the best endings of a series I've ever had the pleasure of picking up, and so it is definitely worth your time. Please, the message is, pick this up. And then I listened to Fire from Heaven by Mary Renault. I have been saying Mary Renault, but someone commented saying it's pronounced Renault. So thank you for correcting my pronunciation there. Please feel free to do that anytime because I am just awful with pronunciations and I'd rather learn how to say them right. But aside from the name of the author, Fire from Heaven is historical fiction focusing on the childhood of Alexander the Great. Mary Renault is known as one of the best kind of older historical fiction authors. She was one of the biggest at the time and kind of seen as an inspiration for the current generation. This book, focusing on Alexander the Great's childhood, really hones in on how he is dragged in 2 directions. There's an enmity between his father and his mother, different cultures, different values, but they're both trying to drag him into their world and trying to forge them in their own image. And so you really create this sense of sympathy for Alexander right from the get-go, that this child is full of conflict and confusion, and he's very undecided of what to do because he feels if he sides with one, he's upsetting the other. And this continues throughout his childhood. I really enjoyed the character craft of the rest of the cast of characters aside from Alexander, because they felt they had their own values and ambitions and motivations. Quite a few were hidden and you later discover them. I thought that was really great. And I also really enjoyed it for Alexander, that from childhood, he has this charisma that draws people with skills towards him. They feel their potential can be reached with him. And he has this kind of indescribable quality that sucks them in. And I really love that kind of element that really makes sense when you think of who Alexander became. He had people around him who really, he defied a lot of expectations. He put people in charge who would do a good job, really, the right tool for the right job. Often it fell into the political sphere as well, of appointing them there, but he often went against what was suggested to him for political reasons because he prioritised efficiency and success. So that really makes sense, and I really love the characterisation that is dragged into this that Mary Renault works on. However, on the flip side, the weakness of this book was Alexander is basically perfect, and it can be a bit aggravating because we know that he killed a lot of people and he was about conquering places. He was not a very moral man. We are very intrigued in the modern day learning about Alexander, but that is not because of his great morality. And so it felt a bit unrealistic that he just seems like this perfect image, angelic child, even as he grows up to be a young man. I thought that there would be kind of a catalyst that changed his character, but you see more that he does make mistakes, but he's still just perfect, really, and everything he does is with the best intentions, which it lost me a lot. And even though that was basically the only flaw I had with this, it was a big flaw for me, especially in this second half. Just whenever he was on the page, it detracted from the story quite a lot for me. But because I really enjoyed the writing style and there is a lot of character craft skills shown, I will be reading more by Mary Renault. And Ed said, I've forgotten what it's called, another book by her, which he's recently read, The King Must Die. He said that is much better, and so has a patron of ours, Ohio Ed. So he said that is their favourite book by Mary Renault and that I need to read it. So I will be picking that up at some point. And then a book I finished just before recording this is another audiobook, and it is Dungeon Crawler Carl. This is something I've had so much hype about recently, very different to the other reads of this month. It's very humorous. It is basically a mindless ball of fun. I really enjoyed it. It clicked with me. It's one that you go in not thinking it's going to be your favourite book ever, but it's one that I enjoyed so much. I just loved the anarchic chaos that was going through this, the monsters that you meet, the imagination, the creativity, the crazy events that unfold are just brilliant. And I love that Cole is with his cat, who then learns how to talk. Princess Donut and Carl, the two most random names and the probably most random pairing you will hear in speculative fiction. And some of the craziest things that happen in speculative fiction as well. But amongst all the chaos, I was surprised at how many heartfelt moments there are, and I was really pleased to see that, because whilst kind of the crazy fun hooks you at first, you need something a layer deeper to keep you hooked in the story, and the heartfelt moments really had that. Cole has some great character progression, but enough that it's holding back that I feel there's a lot more to find out as the books go on. So really enjoyable. I cannot wait to dive into the next one. And now getting into what I'm currently reading. I'm currently almost halfway through The Daughter's War by Christopher Buehlman. Thank you to our patron for this amazing little kind of smaller hardback. Usually the UK hardbacks, I'll hold up another one to show the size difference, are a bit bigger. And I really like how this is quite a bit smaller. I don't know. It just feels, it's not pocket edition, but it just feels much nicer, that size. But anyway, apart from the aesthetic of the book, this is truly incredible. What a month reading September has been so far. Papa Gwyn and my brother Ed have recently loved this book, and so I had to pick it up, and it is just awesome. It is epic fantasy, but reimagined, feeling gritty and dark and realistic. Everything I want in an epic fantasy series nowadays. I love the kind of family at the heart of it. We've got 4 siblings who are all kind of around each other, but in different regiments and different positions in a war with the most evil goblins you've ever met. And there's been some action sequences that are brilliant so far, but I feel there's a lot more to come. And so that's The Daughter's War. I'm sure I'll be talking about it a lot over the coming weeks and months, and I feel that we are going to be doing a review on the Brothers Gwyn at some point. I'm currently also reading The Shadow of the Gods. I'm doing this quite slowly as it's part of the Brothers Gwyn read-along for the Bloodsworn saga, and so I'm just kind of reading a few chapters here and there. I know the story so well, I'm kind of dipping in and out so I can keep up with the Discord and kind of just filter in and out. So I'm dragging this read throughout the entire month so that I can participate the whole time. And so that's Shadow of the Gods. Please do join the read-along if you haven't already. Or if you've read the Bloodsworn saga already, just join in and say your thoughts about certain characters and moments that still stand out in your memory. But then I've actually not technically started, but the next audiobook listen. So I guess I'll go on actually onto the next section, which is what I'm reading next. I'm going to be listening to Cujo by Stephen King. This won the vote on mine and my brother's Patreon for which Stephen King book should I read next. After the next read, I would have read 10 texts by Stephen King. And so Cujo won that list, and it's one of his most famous works. And there's a mental dog. That's all I know about it. And so, yeah, I'm going to go into Cujo. I've heard it's quite terrifying at times. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of his writing. He's such a brilliant writer. And he's one of my favourites as well. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what all the hype is around Cujo. And then what else am I reading next? See if I've got anything else written down. No, actually. So the reading next will also be David Copperfield. My head just went blank for a second there. David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. And so that's what I'll be reading physically after The Daughters' War, as I'm getting ready for uni. And that is the first book I need to have read for the lectures. So that's David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. I know next to nothing about this, but if I do enjoy it, I will also read Demon Copperhead. But they are what I've read, what I'm currently reading, and what I'm reading next. So far, September has been brilliant, not just for the quantity of reads, but also for the quality. Dungeon Crawler Cull was so much fun. The Daughters' War is so brilliant, and I feel it could be one of my favourite books of all time. The Land of the Living and the Dead knocked me for 6, and I was not okay after that ending. And it is just awesome revisiting The Bloodsworn. How much better can it get? I'm looking forward to these next reads as well. But everyone, please let me know how your reading in September has gone. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe.